Um,
I don't have an intro. It's literally off the top of my head.
okay. A lot of talk has been going on about power creep in Honkai Star Rail, and I recently did something about a month or two back. I'm pretty sure about 2 months back, where I pretty much debunked power creep being real, or at least it wasn't real yet. And the way that power creep goes, and the way that I talk about power creep in particular, is a little bit of a double-edged sword, if you will. On one hand, I do understand, and we could all admit that power creeping a character is very much prevalent, right? A character comes out and then something comes out that's a little bit better than them. Let's use Blade, for instance. A much better version of Blade, Yun Li, comes out, and then Blade is just non-existent. Doesn't really matter. Then you have the other form of power creep, and this is the power creep that I don't agree with. A lot of players right now are saying that power creep in Honkai Star Rail is happening simply because they don't have the characters that are quote-unquote required of them to complete content, if you will. And that is super stretched. I want to make that very clear. And it's not all players. I'm not pointing it at all players. I don't think that it's all players, but it's definitely super, is nuanced the word I'm looking for here? It's not entirely true. So we come into Memory Chaos, and Memory Chaos is clearly favored towards whatever's going on. Usually Memory Chaos lately has been really favored towards follow-up attacks. After an ally uses their follow-up attack or skill to attack, add 1 hits per action to memory turbulence, up to 10 extra hits. At the start of every cycle, every hit will deal damage based on the enemy target's respective max HP to random enemy targets 1 time. This is basically a big giga nuke on anything happening, as long as you can rack up 10 hits from follow-up attacks or skills. So some characters can just use their skill outright. Which of those characters? Off the top of my head, I'm gonna straight up tell you Zila, because skill, basic attack, go again, skill. Someone brings you forward, skill, basic attack, go again, skill. Someone brings you forward. So she benefits tremendously from being able to stack up this dissipation of dreams turbulence. But when we look at the actual enemy, the design of the enemies, these I'm gonna call them marionettes because I believe that's what they are, but I'm still thinking of Zenless in the top of my head. These marionettes are 100% favored towards like Firefly, Acheron right now, Boot Hill, even a lot of the more recent characters that have come out. So what's happening is a lot of players who are skipping, or they're not really into picking up these characters, what they're doing is they're basically like, ah man, I didn't get this character, I can't clear. Ah man, and Himiko, yes, Himiko as well, who's a version 1 character, right? Patch 1. So a lot of these players are saying they can't clear something because they didn't invest into it. Now there are 2 problems with this. One, doctor ratio. Well, there's a multitude of problems. I don't want to lie and say that. Problems that exist when it comes to what's going on. Most players are just missing, where's she at? Her. If we're looking at what constitutes as like the power creep, it's Mei. And I don't even want to say that Mei herself is power creep because that sounds super weird. She's not power creeping anyone. Mei just provides so much value. Her value to any account is insane, to the point where me, being one of, if not the biggest Mei simp on YouTube, was telling people pre her banner, you need to get your hands on this character. At least 1 copy of the character, get your hands on it. What was happening at the goddamn Natu? I knew it was gonna happen. Natu coming through with the 25 gifted, bro. Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. That's got to stay in the video just so they know that I'm getting supported on Twitch. All right, it's September right now. Come over to Twitch. You're watching the video, come to Twitch all month. Half off on subs. You guys get your own little private Discord section that you can hang out in. We're gonna be starting anime, whatever reactions or watch togethers. I don't know. We're doing shit. Anyway, thank you, Natu. That means a lot to me. Let's get back to talking about Mei real quick, right? Mei is a character. Panic. Panic. Wait a minute. Yo, panic. Natu, you don't have to do this. You don't have to do this. No, we're not ruining the vid. This is fantastic. This is my vid, right? Yo, Natu, you don't have to do this. Wait a minute, because I know in his head, I know what's happening, bro. Panic. Thank you for the 25 gifted. I appreciate that so much. Where are y'all getting Where y'all getting these oiled up monies from, bro? All right, I appreciate that, because YouTube this month for me was bad. I didn't make no money from YouTube this month. All right, so this is crazy. I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming, bro. Not to, bro. 50 gifted, bro. Thank you, man. God damn. What I was saying about May, okay, is that I told plenty of people pull May. There were a couple other creators as well that told plenty of people grab May. She's number one. What happened during May's time period was that May was being contested with Sparkle. This is before Sparkle came out. So a lot of players who were saying skip May were saying to skip May because Sparkle was going to be the next best thing. Sparkle was going to be the best Harmony character to come out in the game, because as we knew at that time, right? Let me go find her. At that point in time, Bronya was the #1 Harmony unit in the game because of the action advance forward, the big Giga boost with her ultimate, and the fact that she could advance herself forward, right? And she's on standard banner, so you could always get extra copies of her through losing the 50-50 or losing the 50-50. Even getting to the 300, you could buy her. So it was a lot of that. So what happens from that point is now we had, as I said, Sparkle being the projected pick this character up. Eventually, Sparkle and May are out here. Sparkle is not on the same level as May, at least not universally. So now May is unanimously #1. Okay. However, we have Robin now. And Robin is making a very strong case for being #2/#1. I don't think she's #1 yet. I don't know if she could beat out May, but from the looks of what's happening is a couple things. And let me see if I can show you guys through the team build. I don't want to mess up my teams, so I'm not going to do that. But let's just imagine, okay? Actually, I can show you this way. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. I will rule, this will stay the same, but let's just say that I don't have Hushwen. I'm gonna put May here just for the sake of May. Okay. May is on one team, May's on another team. Emanator, May could be on this team. Let's go ahead and just put May on this team, right? May doesn't need to be on this team though, but for this, actually, I'm real positive Robin is better on this team. I'm gonna keep it a buck. I'm really positive Robin is better on this team. Boom. So Robin, all right. Black Widow, probably also Robin, right? Because the action advance forward, being able to re-trigger a lot of your stuff. What's happening is all of the current team comps, the meta, all of their Harmony units are being replaced by Ray. Wow, Robin. They are allowing Robin, or Robin is allowing these team comps to excel in ways that you would have only been able to do with Bronya or Sparkle. But she's advancing the entire team forward. Her kit is just busted. Now you have the break comp, and I think this makes a little bit more sense, right? I'm gonna use the break comp for now, even though you see all of these, right? Robin, and then May. And this is just because I'm forcing it, right? I do like May on this team more than I do the Robin, to be fair, because I don't like running out of Jing Liu's abilities during her transcendent state. When she goes into Honkai, I don't like that. So I prefer May on that team. But so that's what, 3 Mays, 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 Robins in my current roster of teams. Okay. So if I wanted to make another break team or something that could really utilize May, I'm pretty positive I could. Point being is that you do not see a Sparkle on these teams. You don't see a Bronya on these teams. And these teams are, relatively speaking, higher level, right? A higher level, or rarity, I should say, higher rarity. My point about bringing this up between May and Sparkle, May and Robin, is that these are your 2 premier Harmony characters. Power creep isn't happening because Jing Liu, Blade, Acheron, Zhao Shou, Dr. Ratio, Tope. It's not happening because of the power. It's happening because Robin and May are transcending teams beyond what they normally were or normally could be. So it's happening better for what's going on, at least in the current form of the game. Yeah. And then with Hule, coming out later on and being the type of character that it is, that might shake some things up. So from what I'm aware of right now, we have I'd say off the top of my head, right? Because I haven't done the top 5 teams yet, but a lot of them consist of follow-up. The Dr. Numbers IPC Emergency, right? This team is the premier follow-up attack team. That's the top 3, top 5 team right now. Acheron team, that's the top 3, top 5 team, probably number 1. You have Boot Hill and the Common Rider. Common Rider team is a top 3 team right now. Now, most of the time, without having a high investment, you're not going to be able to pull this off. You're going to have to replace Boot Hill with Gallagher most of the time. But you have options is the point, right? You can sustain or not sustain, especially when it comes to having May on the team, because May's whole thing is the extra delay. So she helps teams not need a sustain because she's delaying the enemy a second turn so that they can't attack you, which means you get a kill. Yep. And then 90% of teams either have universal toughness damage or high frequency attackers, i.e. follow-up attack or Firefly. Exactly. So the meta right now is break effect or break teams and follow-up attacking teams. Some other characters that are just really strong, Acheron or even Zila, where she has Zila, are basically so strong kit-wise and damage multiplier-wise that they ignore what the meta is. Zila has always been what I consider like defying a meta or breaking the game, if you will. Her and Silver have a kit that literally say, what are the rules to the game? Oh, you can't do this, this, and this without this. Okay, I'm gonna ignore that. I don't want to play by your rules. I'm gonna make my own rules and then I'll play that way. That is literally Silver and Zila, the character. They make their own rules. They break the rules of the game in order to do exactly what they want to do. So that's good for them, which keeps them relevant in a lot of the banners. The rules are made to be broken. Facts. So you have that. Boot Hill consists of the break effect meta, and he's a little bit of a hybrid, right? He can do the crit. He likes that. And then, of course, you have this one, which is super slept on. She's gone now, so if you didn't pull her, GG's. But Yun Li is super slept on, and I do believe Yun Li is a top 5 team. I think the counter team, specifically with Yun Li, is a top 5 team. She's basically a much more aggressive Clara and Blade smashed into one, if you will. And she's really good, really strong. If you have Yun Li, you of course want to try and get Robin, but you don't need Robin. But Yun Li works in a way to where like Robin or advancing her forward actually really works for her full counter. I like that. So right now the meta has been shaping itself to be this thing for a while. What's happening in the game entirely when it comes to Honkai Star Rail, when it comes to how we've been shaping from, I want to say from 1.4, really, because 1.4 was what, Topaz, if I'm not mistaken, or was that Jingliu? Either Jingliu or Topaz came out during 1.4. I think both, actually. I don't fully remember. But during that time period where we got Jingliu, and then right after that, or right before that, we got Topaz, that was when I started to make conversation that the meta was changing. And I know you guys think of it as like a meme, like
you always say the meta's changing.
Because it is. I'm trying to help you guys prepare so that you don't run into any issues that you're seeing now. My argument about power creep and how it's not exactly like here, it's not a real thing, isn't because I'm ignoring characters are coming out better. I'm very aware that Firefly came out tremendously strong. I'm very well aware that Boot Hill, actually no, Boot Hill wasn't even power creep. People just, they lost their minds because of what he could do, but his kit is designed that way. I'm very well aware that Dr. Ratio being a free character and when you play the character correctly is very strong. I'm very well aware Acheron came out busted as hell. That's how she is, right? It is what it is. And now we're having teams built not around these characters specifically, but we're having characters come out that accentuate these characters and allow you to fully complete one of the team archetypes. Now, what's happening when it comes to players? Most players, from my own experience, you could be different.
Right? I don't want you to think that because I'm saying most players and you don't fall into that category, you have to defend yourself.
If the shoe doesn't fit, you don't have to wear it. Most players, from my experience, what I see in the YouTube comments, other people's comments, Twitch chats, all these kind of things, they always complain about what they can't do because they either A, didn't want to do something else they should have done, or B, chose to do something else with their account, i.e. waifu collect, because that's just what they like to do. You might be asking yourself, what does that mean? If I were going to build Dot, I knew I wanted Kafka, but I skipped Kafka. For whatever reason, I skipped Kafka during 1.2, 1.3, whenever she came out. Boom. So now I don't have Kafka. I roll the banner and Topaz comes out. Damn, I like Topaz. She has a fat ass. I pull on Topaz. Boom. Now I have no Jades. Guess what happens? Black Swan and Kafka come out together shortly after that. I only have enough for one. I guess I'm going to go ahead and get Swan. Boom. I grab Swan. May was before Swan, which means I needed to get May, right? At that time period, May was the one because we didn't have a Robin. You are choosing to do things that you don't have to do simply because you either want it and it doesn't help benefit your current team, or you don't know what you're doing. And not knowing what you're doing is better than you choosing to do something and you know you shouldn't be doing it. Building pity, for instance. When it comes to building a dot team, i.e. Going in the order. Let's say that I was going in order, which means Robin would not have been here. But let's say that I just felt like Robin was coming out, right? I skipped May because I'm gonna catch her on the rerun. Kafka and Swan are more important to me than May for this hypothetical player. Kafka, Swan, May's not here, and then some form of sustain. That could have been Ho-Oh, that could have been Bailu, that could have been who else do we have? Gallagher, because he's free. You could have used any form of sustain for your dot team because they don't really care about the sustain. Yeah, even Luocha, they don't care about a sustain more than they do completing the rest of the kit. So not pulling Ho-Oh would have been the best decision here in the case of building out this team. Now, if I don't have Ho-Oh to worry about, now I can come in and maybe I had enough to snipe May, or maybe I had enough to, oh shit, Robin came around. I didn't know about that, but Robin looks pretty strong. Everyone's talking about Robin. She has action advance forward. I have enough to get Robin. Now I have Robin. Boom, you're done. And because you're done, you don't have to worry about anything. Now, in the event, because Robin came out a little bit ago, Zhao Shou was here. Lingsha is coming. Aventurine was here. You have all these other options for sustains, not for your DOT team, but for your next team. Now I can start building my other team, right? I have Robin. That takes care of that. I call Hua Hua Ho-Oh, yes. I have Robin. I can take care of that. Doctor Ratio is free. Topaz is coming around. Boom. I can go ahead and pick up Topaz. I don't have to worry about the E1 S1 right now. I can do that, you know, on her rerun. I can grab Aventurine. Boom, I got another sustain. All that you're doing is planning your pulls and building your team. Most players, from my experience, aren't doing this because they don't know what they're doing or they don't want to do it. A good example of this was Acheron. I'm so glad that number 3 was the Acheron. A good example of this was Acheron, where people literally grabbed Acheron purely off the strength that she was Acheron. Like, unanimously across the board, she was the strongest character in the game. It was very aware. Calcs said it, spreadsheets said it, leaks said it. When we got the CE server, they said it. Everyone and their mama was talking about Acheron. So she became the must-pull DPS character. Instead of looking at what you could have used or needed for your account, you guys jumped ahead. Y'all went to E2 S0. I didn't even get there yet, but we're gonna get there. Instead of looking at what you needed for your account or what could have enhanced your current team, they said, fuck that, and I'm gonna pull Acheron. Knowing I don't want to play Acheron with 2 Nihility characters. I want my Bronya. I just pulled Sparkle before Acheron got here. I want my Sparkle on the team. My Ho-Oh, my Aventurine, right? What about my Ruan Mei? Ruan Mei is the best harmony. Why can't I put I'm just gonna do this. I'm just gonna do this, chat, right? This is my team now. I'm gonna do this. This is the team that I'm gonna build for my Acheron. Oh wait, hold on. My bad. Wait. Let me do it the way that they were doing it. Which I think is, to this day, I think this was some of the dumbest shit.
Needing a combat report.
Now I have my Acheron team, guys. My Acheron team is complete. I have my Nihility requirements all checked off. I have Ruan Mei, the best Harmony character in the game. And I have Branya, second best Harmony character in the game. I'm chilling. Right, chat? We're good. This is the team that I want to play. This isn't an Acheron team. And it might work for you. I'm not saying that this team can't work, right? Why? Why? Why are we doing this? For what? The reason that this was happening back then was because players did not want to change the formula of what was considered hyper carry. And exactly, Clippy, the players that did this then are struggling now. And even worse, let's talk about this fact. What's worse is you had players who were so adamant about not, which if you don't know, right, because some of you guys could be new, Acheron's talent, where is it at?
A few minutes later.
I skipped it. The Abyss. I didn't realize I skipped it. I am blind. Acheron's ability, the Abyss, okay, is that when she has one or two Nihility characters on the team, she gets an increased everything, all right? Her damage just skyrockets. So you see, if you have two Nihility characters, it jumps up by 160% of the original damage, respectively. Now, at that time, I don't want to say most, but it was being speculated. But if I'm not mistaken, finality damage is something that we're familiar with from Honkai Impact 3rd. Chat can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm just gonna try and like explain this on a very basic level. Finality damage is basically you take all of the damage you were supposed to do and then you multiply it by a whole new multiplier. And that's what, like, okay, now you have the finality, you know what I'm saying? So if I was gonna do 500,000, then you take all of that damage and you multiply it by whatever this is. So one Nihility character, you multiply by the 115%. Two Nihility characters, you multiply by the 160%, okay? And that's how you're seeing Acheron pop for like 1 million damage, 1.5 mil, 1.8 mil, whatever they're doing, yeah? Now that you understand the reason that two Nihility characters were required at that time, most players, including free-to-play, were so adamant about not wanting to use two Nihility characters and instead wanted to use the Powerpuff Girls. You guys can check out my other videos or read chat and they'll tell you what the Powerpuff Girls are. I talked about it previously all the time. I coined the name because it's still prevalent to this day. Most players went ahead and just sniped E2. If you ask an Acheron player, they probably have E2 because they were so adamant about not wanting to play with the Nihility characters. E2 is worth it now, but back then you didn't need it. They were so adamant about not building the team correctly based off what Acheron's kit told you it wanted that they were like, yo, let me just get this. Cool, boom. E2. Now you have E2, right? You don't have anything else. And then as soon as Acheron was gone, here comes Boot Hill. Here comes Firefly. Here comes Robin. Excuse me. All these characters. Fei Xiao is next, but you know, you would have had time to save up for Fei Xiao by then. Here comes Jiao Shou. All this stuff happened, and now they don't have the things to pull for it. So there are decisions that benefit you, and they also have consequences, or they're decisions that just have consequences, one of the two. So you see all of that happening with Acheron, with the teams, yeah? And now we look at, were you building archetypes? Because again, this is something that became prevalent to me, and I tried to let everybody know back in 1.4. The game is moving away from hypercarry, and I made it very clear, not specifically only hypercarry. The game is moving away from those type of team comps. They're moving away from like, okay, this is a standard dual DPS team. This is a standard hypercarry team. This is a standard counter team. No, it's becoming much more specific, and they're turning into full-blown team archetypes. Hypercarry could be considered a form of like a team archetype, right? But it's general, it's too generalized. Acheron is the good example of this. Most players look at Acheron and say, oh, well, that's still technically a hypercarry team, so she's still hypercarry. Acheron does not play like a hypercarry team. Acheron is an Acheron team, right? Someone came up with a full stacks team or something like that in my comment section the other day, or a stack generation team, something like that. But Acheron is a specialized form of hyper carry, which then turns into her own version of it, because Acheron plays differently than Jing Liu. Jing Liu plays differently than Zila, right? And these are all forms of hyper carry, but they're different. So actually Jing Liu is probably dual DPS, but same shit. Anyway, you guys get what I'm saying. Now we're here, and like, if you weren't building these archetypes, you didn't have a plan. Oh, I don't want to play ratio. I don't want to play ratio because why do I need debuffers? Why can't ratio just work? Then don't pick up ratio. Don't play follow-up attacks. Simple as that. Skip every single follow-up attacking character. But Robin's so strong, but I don't, and there's tons of comments that I get like this all the time. I'm not making fun of anybody, but it's odd to me how this happens. Oh man, Robin is everyone's saying Robin's the best. I really want to pull Robin because everyone keeps talking about her, but I just don't like follow-up attacks. I really want to pull Black Swan because everyone says that she's the best DOT in the game, but I just don't like DOT. Don't play the team. Don't pull the character. Don't build the team. Don't build the units. You guys can make these decisions and be perfectly fine. I hate Mei. Not me, but like people say that. I hate Mei. I don't want to play Mei. Guess what? Don't build a break team. Simple. There are other teams in the game that don't focus and revolve around break to where you don't need Mei. Keep using Bronya. Or if you were super invested in the Sparkle, guess what? You're a Sparkle main now. You're a Quantum main. Start building on that. Sparkle gets a rerun. You better pull that fucking E2. Pull this E2 and turn Sparkle into Ruan Mei. Turn her into the strength of Ruan Mei through vertical investment. We talk about this all the time on this channel. All the time we talk about vertical investment, and it constantly gets ignored. If you don't want to play something, don't do it. It's that you don't have to. You don't have to. I'm not okay. So Sarah, I'm not saying E2 is bringing you the same value universally as Ruan Mei. What I'm saying about Sparkle, because if I'm not wrong, or if I'm not mistaken, doesn't her E2 give you the defense shred? Yep. Ignores target's defense for every stack. What's 8 times 5? 8 times 5 is 35, right? Or you get 4 stacks. No. How many stacks do you get? How many stacks do you get from her talent? 3 stacks. So 24%. That's 24% defense ignore. Let's go to Ruan Mei. Let's go to Ruan Mei. Where's her ultimate at? Ultimate right here. 25% pin resistance or penetration, all type res penetration. And then her defense ignore is in her, isn't it in her E1? It's in her E1, right? That's what I thought. It's in her E1. So you don't need everything about a character's kit for your team to perform on a similar level. E2 Sparkle, right? If I'm building this Quantum team and I have Sparkle, Zila, Ting Yun, and let's say I don't have Mei, right? And I have Fu Xuan. You keep investing into this until it can't perform anymore. That's just what you do, right? Silver, you can put Silver on the team. So now, because Zila's Eidolons are ass, so you don't need to invest into that. Ting Yun's free, or you know, 4-star, whatever. And Fu Xuan's fine. You don't have to invest in her at all. So now all you have to do is invest in a Sparkle. And then guess what? Hey man, they released a new character that somehow benefits Zila. Or there's a new sustain that has action advance forward. That's perfect for this character. Boom, you're good to go. That team is done. And you can passively invest into this team. Now you can work on the next team. Not that team. Let's say you don't like Acheron and you skip Acheron, you want to work on, oh my bad, and you also don't like Mei, so now you can't play the break team. Guess what? Where they at? Follow-up attacking team. Boom. Ratio is free. That's already your main DPS right there. Step 1 done. Get Topaz, get Robin, get Aventurine, and you don't even need Aventurine. Get Gallagher, he's free. You're done. Start investing into their relic sets. Start investing into whether or not you get their signature light cones. Robin, same thing with Sparkle, right? Guess what? When you get her fucking E2, she gives you a speed increase. When you get her E1, she gives you all type res penetration. Same thing as Ruan Mei's ultimate. Like E1, you can stop here. E1 fucking Robin is insane. Even I'm considering pulling this whenever she gets here in a couple weeks. Why did I pick Robin E0 as S1 instead of E1? Because I really, really wanted the light cone. I really, really wanted the. I'm not one of the players. I have to have this, right? I don't care. I really wanted the light cone because I am a light cone collector. All right. I am a light cone collector. I collect light cones. There are very few light cones that I don't have in this game. As the light cone salesman, the light cone connoisseur, I'm gonna sell you a light cone. I collect light cones. I like having my light cones, okay? I don't even gotta use it, right? Obviously my sustains, I don't have their light cones, like Ho-Oh's, I don't have her light cone. I have Fushuans, I have Adventuring, so I felt like they were pretty impactful to the character. For instance, Firefly, I don't have Firefly's light cone. Why? Because Firefly's, the damage difference, her performance between this light cone and her signature were so negligible to my own excuse me, my own playstyle, like me playing the character. The damage difference was so negligible, there was no reason for me to pull on that light cone. Boot Hill's light cone I don't have because Boot Hill was a mistake. And I don't say that in the wrong way. Like, I'm not regretting Boot Hill by any means. I really wanted the character, but I did not have Jades at the time to get that character. And right before Boot Hill went away, I was able to pull for the character, and we ended up getting Boot Hill off a fuck it 10 pull. But that was the only 10 pull I had, so I could not get his signature light cone. Robin's light cone is the same way. Not only is it negligible, it's a DPS loss compared to the new March light cone for face shot and ratio. Telos, let me ask you a question. How on Sephiroth's green earth would I know that a new light cone labeled March is coming out months in advance when I'm pulling on Robin's banner? Like, some of the things that are being stated make no sense. I can't see the future. None of that makes any sense for me to be like, ah, man, 6 months from now, we're going to get a 4-star light cone that's going to be better than our signature. How am I supposed to know that? And then you could say, we'll just use the other light cones for it, right? For Robin. So now we look at what other light cones do I have for her? There's Bronya's light cone that I could have given her. I still don't have an S5 dance. And then everyone else is using some form of their own light cone. So it wasn't until these started to pop up that I could change that, but I can't see the future. You like the follow-up team such as Ratio, Topaz, Robin, and Adventuring. Do I think you should pull for Fei Xiao, or should I wait for, nope, pull for Fei Xiao and then pull Acheron Eidolons? Your decision isn't super hard. Pull Fei Xiao. Pull Fei Xiao, Brian. Hopefully you get it early and then invest in the Acheron if you have it. But to be fair, and I've said this for a number of times, E2 Acheron is a luxury. No one needs it. No one actually needs E2 Acheron. They pull it because they don't want to build the team correctly. Power creep in the game currently is not something that is here because you cannot clear the game. Almost every character in the game, and I have to stretch almost because some of them can't do it. Almost every character in the game can clear whatever form of content you're looking for as long as you build the team for them to be able to do it. If you did not build your team correctly, you're not doing that. Also, let me point this out. There's a difference between you seeing something be able to zero cycle and then you seeing something clear. All right, because in MOC, they didn't lower it, right? It's still 10. You still have 10 turns to clear MOC, right? That means you only need to clear something 5 and 5, 6 and 4, 7 and 3, whatever. Zero cycles are not something that over 90% of you can't even zero cycle. Let's just put that on the table. Over 90% of players cannot zero cycle. That's number one. So it's different when we use zero cycles as our criteria, or 1 cycles or like cycle clears as a criteria, because 1, most of us that are talking about this can't do it, and 2, when we do it, we're taking everything into consideration at like the highest of the high, right? All of the premium, whatever, not the free to play shit. So when the community tries to use 0 cycles or lower cycle clears as their form of criteria, the problem with that is 99, as Sarah said, 99.999% cannot meet this criteria. They just can't do it. So when you can't meet the criteria as a collective, there's no point for that to be discussed as your criteria for what makes or breaks, in this case, power creep. There's very few characters that are being power crept. Like, hold on, wait a minute. I'll show you guys right now. Characters that are irrelevant and you should not pull for them. Crash Course Edition. Let me go. Fine. Don't pull Jing Liu. Kafka's still debatable to me. Zila, I wouldn't recommend you pull her, but she's not power crept, so it's hard. The only reason I say you wouldn't pull her is because she's a high investment character, and most of y'all are not gonna put the work into this character. Silver, I would always recommend pulling Silver, so still good, but you don't necessarily need her. But as a newer player, Silver is gonna be fucking phenomenal for your account. Free, pull this. Yep. You can't control that. Pull this only if you're going to invest into follow-up attacking. Can't control that. Don't pull. Same thing as Kafka. Do not pull. Do not pull. Do not pull. Free. Not anymore. Not free anymore. Not free anymore. Pull Fei Xiao. Dill Pickle. Don't pull. Robin. Pull, obviously. Zhao Shou, only pull if you have Acheron. Don't pull him before. Ho-Oh, definitely pull. Luocha, don't pull. Welt, can't control that. Yang Jin, can't control that. Jade, don't pull that. That's it. Oh, and then Bailu can't control that, right? That's a crash course on what you should or shouldn't do if you're looking at who's whatever, all right? I can obviously explain these things in a whole different video because this video is already long enough and you guys aren't probably even making it to the end of this point. But this is only for MLC? No. The way that okay, so if you're willing to pull a character specifically for one mode, that's a whole different conversation that I'm not specifically thinking about. I'm thinking about a character's worth overall, like everything. So Jade, for instance, might be queen at pure fiction, but I'm not wasting my Jades on Jade for specifically pure fiction. Like, I have to consider how much value do I get out of the character for how many Jades I'm spending. Now, for me, in Jade's case, I got Jade off a random 10 pool, so I didn't spend a lot. Same thing with Blue Hill. I didn't spend a lot. But if I went to my usual max pity, lose 50-50, go max pity again for Jade, I'd be pissed the fuck off. I'd be so mad. I'd be insanely pissed off, dude. Some characters are not worth premium resources. Luocha, he's not worth it anymore. Gallagher's free. He's literally 0.5, right? Tier 0.5. No reason for this. Dill Pickle's strong. He's not weak by any means. But when you pull Dill Pickle, you need to be prepared. Dill Pickle, shit, you want to sparkle in that case, right? Or even Robin, May, whoever. Dill Pickle needs a premium invested team to help him do what he does. Pela obviously is going to work as a better sub DPS or like Nihility character. And then Ting Yun, if you have her with the dance, that makes up for it. But Dill Pickle's not this easy ass character where like, okay, I have Dill Pickle, now I can just put anybody on the team and it'll work. No, he needs a team, like a proper team. So put it there, right? Blade, just no, his kit early game is amazing. Now it's just he can't keep up. It's not good. Swan, you better be prepared for DOT. Jing Yuan, no, just don't waste your time pulling him. He's great. Not worth it, especially when we're considering the fact that he falls under a follow-up attack character. Jing Yuan has 2 debuffs against him. One, he's the path of erudition. Across the board, all of our erudition characters have just been bad. None of them have been so substantially good that they can jump into like tier 0.5, tier 0, whatever, so far. 2, his follow-up attack is literally beta version of follow-up attack.
Life is as
it's not the same. The way Jing Liu's Lightning Lord, or not Jing Liu, my bad, Jing Yuan. The way Jing Yuan's Lightning Lord works should have been similar to how Topaz or even Blade works, where they get a certain amount of stacks, boom, pops it. It's immediate. But no, he has to wait until Lightning Lord decides when he wants to do it. That's dumb. Then if he gets CC'd, get cooked. Numby, a completely separate entity that is also summonable, similar to Lightning Lord, acts on its own. Jing Yuan's Lightning Lord should have acted on its own. Simple as that. Who else has a fucking follow-up that doesn't get or doesn't care about CC? Somebody else has a follow-up in here that doesn't care about it whenever they get CC. But whatever, we'll get to it whenever that happens. When that happens. And I could be wrong. But whatever. You guys get where I'm going with this, all right? Some characters are just not worth it. Not for the amount of jades you would have to spend to make them worth it. If you really like the character, do whatever you want. It's fine. I'm not bashing any character. I'm not saying they're ass. I'm saying that in this current form of the game, going into 3.0, where we know another new meta is getting ready to pop off, there's no point in investing into something that is not keeping up with the meta, needs more work for you to help it kind of like sustain itself, and for the foreseeable future is not getting any buffs, any direct buffs. Because if it's an indirect buff, guess what? If in the event, let's take Jing Yuan once again, let's say Jing Yuan gets an indirect buff, which means that it's something that a relic set or a new light cone or whatever. If he gets an indirect buff, that means that the indirect buff is a direct buff for anybody else in the game. So let's say that it's for Yun Li, right? Yun Li gets a direct buff and it may help Jing Yuan. Guess what? Jing Yuan is not going to be better than Yun Li with the direct buff. Similar to break effect, right? The break meta happened and that made Jing Yuan have a little bit more of a spotlight. But you know who he couldn't outshine? Break effect characters who had direct relation to the break effect buffs in the game. If you think about Star Rail more like a turn-based RPG and how turn-based RPGs work traditionally, you will have a much easier time planning for team building, characters, reruns, whatever, and call it a day. But if you're gonna treat this game like how, and if you're casual, none of this shit matters, right? If you're gonna treat this game like a super casual, like I pull for what I want when I want because waifus over meta, you know, and your account looks something like you got Kafka, Zila, Silver, Jing Liu, Yun Li, Firefly, No Mei, Boot Hill, and a Jing Yuan, but you don't got any of that shit in a proper team. It is what it is. You can't blame Star Rail. That's another thing. Hold on, the video's not done. That's another thing that I didn't point out. People are complaining about the actual game. Where is it at? They're complaining about the game evolving. And I think this is kind of bad.
Do you want to
I don't want to call it dumb, but I think it's a bad, it's a false complaint, a bad thing, whatever. Argenti, for instance, and even this lady, right? Let's use Argenti. How much HP does Argenti have, chat? Like 1.8 mil or 2 mil, something like that? Argenti has over 1 million HP, if I'm not mistaken now. He didn't have that when he launched. When he first got here as a boss, he did not have over 1 million HP. Excuse me. For people to do whatever it is, right? He didn't have this much HP for people to be concerned about, and you could just pop him just like that, which made Dill Pickle, Jing Liu, even Acheron, right? It made these characters significantly stronger in appearance because they were fighting weaker or on level enemies. Now that the game has evolved character-wise, and these characters that we have are so fucking cracked, the game has evolved. It has to. If they did not evolve the game itself, the game would be bad. It would be Honkai Star Rail would be a bad game by design if the enemies did not level up above the current roster of characters that we have. So now people are like, oh man, well, Acheron's still fine. Like she's good. She's hitting for 1 million damage and like she takes out anything in the game because she's broken. She's the emanator of whatever the fuck it is. I don't know. She's supposed to be that way. Firefly doesn't even crack the same levels of damage that Acheron does consistently, I should say, because she has to work up towards that damage at a little bit of a slower rate. And obviously, if you don't have the premium team for her to do that, then you're not doing it. Boot Hill is the same way. Oh man, you want Ruan Mei on your Boot Hill team. Okay, well, what else do you want? You also want Bronya on your Boot Hill team. Okay, what else do you want? You also want Pale on your Boot Hill team. What else do you want? You want Gallagher. So I need 5 characters for my Boot Hill to do like the shit he's supposed to be doing. There are negatives to the break meta, just like there are negatives to the follow-up meta. There are negatives to the Acheron meta, very few for Acheron, but still, these comps aren't just outright broken. They have faults to them, but the faults don't matter when you're only looking at top of the top. When you're looking at these players who are very good at the game, play the game, the faults don't matter. But when you see the average player playing the game and they're trying to imitate or do whatever it is, that's when you start to notice the faults immediately. You see a boot hill player playing the game, they have a boot hill team, like let's say Bronya, boot hill, Pela, and Gallagher, right? They have a regular boot hill team, and they're like, damn, dude, my boot hill takes like 5-6 cycles to kill something. And you'll hear somebody else, bro, what? Boot hill should be 0 cycling. Your boot hill should not take any more than 1 cycle to clear any wave in the game because the boot hill is that strong. Are we taking into account that that player just doesn't have the same type of investment into their boot hill that you might have, or the team that you might have? No, we're not. Okay, well then that's a problem. All of this stuff is a problem. The enemies have to evolve. The game has to evolve. I was hoping, and from what I've seen, that might not be the case. I was hoping that when Hule came out, it completely stunted 0 cycles. That's what I wanted. I know that sounds like big hater energy. I wanted 0 cycles to be something that you had to work for now, even though the only the 0.001% are able to do it. I wanted Hule to come out and just make 0 cycles hard as fuck, a reward. If you got, like, when you 0 cycle something like that post Hule, everyone knew about it. It meant something. That's what I want. Now the community looks at it like everyone can't 0 cycle. Oh yeah, bro, that's easy. Your Acheron can't 0 cycle, bro. You're not playing Acheron correctly. What? Who? Where? Show me your Acheron doing the 0 cycle. Mind you, they're gonna pull out an E2 Acheron, an E2 Sparkle, E1 Ron May with an E1 Robin, talking about, yeah, they 0 cycle all the time. Obviously, rant over. I'm done. I just wanted to rant about that on stream before you jump into Genshin. Power creep is here, but it's not here in the form of like what players are talking about it as. Power creep is here in the form of some characters, again, Blade, Jing Liu, Dill, Jing Yuan, whoever, right? Fu Xuan. Some of the characters have just been outdated, and they have not received anything that can significantly bring them up to speed in the current state of the meta. But the meta is not power creeping anything. What's happening is players who did not properly invest into their account, or they refused to do anything besides build into hyper carry or just dual DPS, whatever, they are the ones struggling right now. And they are the same ones, again, from my experience based on the comments and whatever else, they are the ones who are complaining about the power creep. I have not seen a single, even free to play, I have not seen a single person who's properly, like, and I have multiple comments that, you know, in my comment section on my YouTube videos that usually come out and say this. They picked Acheron and then a follow-up. They picked the Acheron team and then a break. They picked break and then Acheron, right? They picked 2 archetypes to build into, and they are perfectly fine. They clear everything. They're not having any issue. You're done. It is what it is. All right. Like the video, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Peace.